It's true, bamboo bedding is dreamy to sleep on. That's why Quince aptly named their Bamboo Dream Quilt Set. Coming in 12 colors, you're absolutely going to love this quilt and 2 shams set. Starting at the softest of pinks and going all the way to a dark navy. It's going to be perfect for anyone's room. Your own, your guest rooms, your kids' rooms, maybe even back to the dorm bedding. Quince has everything you need to elevate your space, from bedding to soft organic towels, airy curtains, and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And of course, as you know, Quince has gorgeous cashmere and other wardrobe essentials. And the best part, Quince's products are half the cost of similar brands. They partner with top artisans and cut out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to us. Thank you, Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so you can feel good about your purchases from Quince. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT.
Put on your sweater and grab your pumpkin spice latte. Hi, I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today we are creating cozy.
I am so excited to talk about cozy today. Fall is my favorite time of year. I think most people say that fall is their favorite time of year, no matter where you live.
So true. I mean, definitely, we love fall here, and I don't know why I even love it more than spring, because there's all the beautiful spring flowers. But, I live in Houston, and it's super, super hot in the summer. So when it starts cooling off, it just feels like such a breath of fresh air. It is such a relief. I mean, I feel like I can finally exhale, and maybe that's part of it for me. And maybe in other parts of the country, it's those beautiful fall colors. It's the leaves changing and the fun sweaters. Yeah, I think it does. It is that kind of, let's cuddle up and drink something hot and, throw a blanket on. It does. It sounds very cozy. Let's call it what it is.
Yes. And sweaters that makes me think of taking my boots out, and I love wearing boots. So boots is fun too. I think a lot of people look forward to that too. And when I was growing up, we used to take trips. I grew up in New York, and we used to take trips up into New England to just do the foliage viewing. And my mom absolutely loved that. And every year, my parents would plan out a new route, and we'd end up in Vermont somewhere, going through a covered bridge, and we'd stay at some little inn or something like that. So I have really great memories of that. Collecting fistfuls of different colored leaves and things like that, and going to the pumpkin stand or going apple picking. So fall conjures all of those memories for me. Even though I live in Southern California now, we don't get a lot of different color. We do get some. The ginkgos are turning gold and things like that. So it's just a lovely time of year. And as you say, the temperatures start to drop a little bit. It's a little bit more comfortable if you live in a super hot area. And you really ought to start transitioning your home. You might be a little tired of the summer look, and shake the sand out and fold up those beach towels and put them away, and start thinking about creating cozy in your home and taking out your fall decor. And we're going to help you with lots of tips and tricks today.
That's right, because I don't lean heavily into fall decor, and I know you don't either, Kelly, but we do like a small nod to the season, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So are you ready to start?
I am. You want to kick us off?
Sure. I would say fabrics that add cozy are a great way to start. So look for fabrics like furry pillows, wool throws, velvet pillows. The Mongolian lamb throws or pillows are fabulous too. All of these things just feel so cozy to me, and they just make it so comfortable, and they serve a function because they are very warm on those chilly nights. I love having wool blankets or maybe even a tartan throw that you can use. And I've selected a couple of items from Amazon for today's episode, and I found a faux Mongolian lamb fur pillow, 20 by 20, that's less than $20. So I think that would be very nice to throw on your sofa or in a chair
When you said the word fabric, tartan and plaids immediately came to mind. I love to add a little plaid. Last couple of years, I have pulled out this just piece of fabric that I cut into sort of a runner.
Nice.
And I didn't even sew it. I just kind of fold over the edges. And it's just a really lovely plaid. It's got some grays and blacks. So it's going with my general palette, but it has that fall feel to it. And I'll run that down the table. I usually put maybe a grain sack runner underneath it and just kind of layer it. So plaids and tartans, if you can add those in, pops on pillows or throws, or as I'm saying, on your table, that's a really nice addition. When I think about cozy, I want to start with the functionality. I know I always bring us back to functionality, and maybe someone's gone, wow, like let's get to the items. Anita already gave us a furry pillow, and you're talking about functionality, Kelly. But it's so true, because a room cannot be cozy or comfortable in any season, but it particularly can't be cozy if it doesn't function well, right? So if it's uncomfortable to get settled into the room, then you're not going to feel cozy there. If the chair that you choose to sit and do your reading in or pet your dog or something like that is uncomfortable, you can't be cozy. All right, so you want to start with the functionality of the room, and just tossing a throw into a room that doesn't function well is not going to make it cozy, right? So the room needs to be user-friendly. The area has to be user-friendly first. And so I suggest that you create places, not just spaces, right? Places like nooks, crannies, and all these little spots within your four walls, within your rooms, where you can experience cozy. That is really going to bring this sort of the warmth and make the space inviting and make you want to be in it. And then we can add all the decor items that will enhance the cozy feel.
Well, that's true. I mean, if you don't have a comfortable seat, then yeah, putting a throw on may make it look better, but it's not going to make it feel comfortable. It's not going to fix a chair that's lumpy or doesn't feel good if you sit in it. That's true. So my next tip is actually something very functional. I think you'll approve of this. And that is to add some cozy lighting.
Oh, yes.
With lamps. Every room needs some lamps. And I think sometimes we buy a lamp and then we just say we're done, and it's 20 years later and we haven't looked at our lamps yet. So, really kind of assess if you have lamps already in the room. Are they current looking? Do they look dated? Just kind of do that self-assessment. So something that we love, I know, Kelly, you and I both love this, and that is a gourd lamp. It's always lovely to have a set of two. You can use them in the same room. And I found a set of Safavia gourd lamps. They're 27 inches tall, and for the set, less than $150. They come in several colors, and actually, I felt like the white was the best looking in this set.
Oh, wow. That is a really good price. And here's the thing with those gourd lamps. They're classics. You can find them everywhere. You can find them at Visual Comfort. You can find them at Ballard. So in all different price points. But this is an amazing price point. And think about it. It's ceramic. It's a very classic shape. I mean, how can they really go wrong? You could always change the shade if you get a set of lamps for $150 or less. And you think the shade is kind of not really doing anything for the lamp. It's just kind of a plain white shade or something, and you could do better in that department. You could always switch out the shade. That's still a great price for the base lamps. $150 for two. That's amazing.
I thought so. So yeah, so think about that. I mean, it's really something that is not that expensive. I mean, it can be depending on where you go, but you can get something pretty decent and really upgrade your look and add that warmth to the room all in one step.
Another way to add cozy is focus on natural materials and finishes. Nothing undoes cozy like plastic, polyester, and things like that. So if you can add natural materials, I mean, it can certainly be a blend. It doesn't have to be 100% Belgian linen. It can be some sort of a blend, but it's something that is so obviously man-made and unnatural will not really add to your cozy vibe. So look for natural materials, whether it be in the fabrics or if you're using any baskets or textured items. Even if you're talking about lampshades, maybe you do something that has more of a texture to it, maybe a seagrass. And adding these items will really enhance the whole sense of cozy. I mean, texture in and of itself really does go a long way to adding a feeling of warmth and depth and layering to a room, which really does add up to cozy.
So another thing is, do you have a fireplace? If you have a fireplace, use it. Turn it on or add logs to it. I mean, it depends on what kind of fireplace you have, whether you need actual logs. But another fun thing to do to really make your home look very warm and inviting in the fall is to get some birch logs and put them in a really pretty basket. And you can get them on Amazon, and I found a set of 8 that are about 18 inches long for less than $50.
I love that idea of doing something in your fireplace. As I've mentioned, my fireplace does not work, but I don't leave it just as a black hole. The black hole is so not cozy. Certainly a crackling fire can be super cozy, but if you're not burning real logs because your fireplace doesn't work for whatever reason, your chimney is not working well, or environmental reasons, or it's just a pain in the neck, or if you have gas and that's not working, you can just take out the log set if you have one in there, or just clean it out. And then you could put something beautiful in there. You could put a basket with a fern. You could put a basket with these logs that Anita's talking about. You could put some of the battery operated candles. There's a lot of ways to treat a fireplace box, which doesn't necessarily involve fire, that can still add up to cozy. So it's going to be a focal point in your room if you have a fireplace in the room. So you can't ignore the fact that it's this black hole. And sometimes people have those glass doors on there. So I would say if you have the glass doors and you don't use the fireplace, and so it's still just going to look like a black hole just with the glass doors in front, maybe you want to take those doors off, or that mesh sort of curtain that sometimes fireplaces have, where you kind of bring it over and close it and you can open it. If you're not using the fireplace, so therefore you don't need the protection of either the glass or the mesh, I might just suggest that you take that whole thing off and then do something decorative in the firebox.
Well, I agree. I mean, so many people don't use their fireplace. And if you're not, take all that stuff off, because it's typically not that decorative. And then you can do something pretty with your firebox. If you don't have to deal with all of that stuff, then why even have it? So you can do something really pretty then.
Designing for wellness and relaxation is a big trend in 2023. And I think it's just going to be what we're all doing. We're trying to balance our lives, and everybody's so busy, and we're recognizing how wellness and relaxation really isn't an extra special treat. It really needs to be part and parcel of our everyday. And cozy taps right into this trend. So if you're cozy, you're going to be right on trend with wellness and relaxation. So cozy, it shouldn't just be visual, right? You want to be able to use the spaces, right? So think about what areas you can carve out in your home to create these little cozy nooks. So think about, do you have a guest room or a bonus room that's not being used at all? Well, maybe you can use part of that room. If you're a napper, I guess you could go up in there and be cozy. But what if you just wanted to use it and have it more of a multifunctional space, rather than just the couple of days a year that you have guests, or during the holidays if you have guests? Maybe see if you can grab an area in that space, that guest room or that bonus room, to put a really comfy chair with a little side table and a great lamp, or a floral lamp or something like that. So you could use that as a destination. Take your book, take your laptop, if you have a hobby that you can do sitting in a chair, take it up there and use the space rather than having it just be empty until you have guests. And then, or maybe even like a stair landing. Some people have very big landings on their staircase and it's an unused space. Could you slip maybe a very narrow little desk there that would be a nice place to sit, with maybe a little bud vase and a lamp, and maybe you could do a little work there. Maybe you could look out the window. see if there are little areas in your room that are not being used to their fullest potential, and then create a little haven of cozy right there.
I love that idea. And what about faking a window seat by putting a bench under a window and then putting pillows on there, small little pillows? I think that's a great idea too. And, when Evie moved out, I made it kind of a sitting room and put a day bed in there. And that's my favorite place to sit and read or look at my iPad, because it's just very comfortable. It's not a space I'm in very often, but because it's up on the second floor, I can see out the window and see what's going on with the neighbors across the street. So it's a fun place to sit. I can't really see in their house or anything. I'm just
but it sounds like you might be trying.
No.
Okay, so let's explore this a little bit. So I know you did that. I mean, was she out the door and out of the driveway before you did that? I'm not sure. But I know you transformed Evie's room after she left. Now, you really do go in there? So you'll start, because you're such a busy person. Do you actually go and sit up there?
Oh, yeah. I don't seem to sit at the sofa anymore in our living room. So if I'm going to sit down and look at something, that is where I like to sit, because it's just a cozy room and it's quiet. And I love it in there.
Isn't that great? So there, you didn't even need my tip. But here, Anita is living out my tip, right? So she had this extra room and she transformed it into a place that she is now, it's like a little cozy mecca for her. She goes up there and really enjoys it. So you can do that too. And I love the window seat idea. I love you saying fake a window seat, because a bench is so easy. You could even get a bench that has maybe some storage under it or something that looks more like a built-in window seat and put it there. You don't have to sit there for hours at a time. Sometimes you just need 15 minutes, even if you're scrolling through Instagram, even if you're listening to our podcast and you just want to go put your feet up somebody and listen. You have permission just to relax. And maybe if you have a cozy spot or two in your house, like Anita's created up in a former bedroom, you'll do that. And again, then you're on trend with the wellness and relaxation.
Right. Permission to relax. I love that. You have permission to relax, and you can relax in my next thought, which is to opt for swivel chairs. And you might say, what does that have to do with cozy? Well, I think these club chairs are very comfortable and cozy, but I think they're perfect for really making best use of the room, because you can turn them to face the fireplace when you have the fire on. You can turn them toward your neighbor to talk, with the chair across the way or maybe the sofa. You can turn it for conversation, and then you can even turn it to look out the window if there's a window in the room. So I really love the idea of swivel chairs. I don't have any, but the next time I buy some chairs, I'm going to buy the swivel chairs, because I feel like they're so functional, which is another thing you've been talking about. And depending on the ones you get, very cozy and comfortable.
Yeah, I know Ballard has really nice ones. They're kind of barrel shaped. Those are great. And they're a smaller profile, oftentimes, in general, the swivel chair. So you can probably fit it in if you're looking for one of these smaller little nooks or crannies in your house.
I am going to link to one that I found on Wayfair that has very high ratings, and it's about $550, and I'll include that in the show notes.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. I can't stop using dupe.com. This is an amazing website, service, best friend. I absolutely love it. So you find something that you really want and it's too expensive, it's a budget buster. Then you use dupe.com and you can find almost the exact thing or very similar products for much less. So I was crushing on this incredibly gorgeous coffee table. I had it in my mind. I had it in my Pinterest boards. I had it everywhere, but I just didn't have it in my house because it was too expensive. When I learned about dupe.com, that was the first product that I tested. And boy, did I find some amazing dupes. And I purchased one. So the original was almost $3,000. And Dupe showed me many choices, all the way down to under $200. Now, you may think something this extraordinary is hard to use, but it's so easy. Just type dupe.com/ before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free. That's completely free free to use. Stop wasting your money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. I want you to think about one more area to consider for a spot to create cozy in your house. Many of us are going to have this otherwise useless corner in our living room or maybe family room. Because oftentimes, and we suggest that you do this, encourage you to do this, you're creating conversation areas. So maybe the seating is somewhat around the coffee table, or there's a sofa and then two chairs, or so there's some configuration where it's almost like huddled together to create this sense of togetherness and an ability to have conversation or put a drink down and things like that. We don't want your furniture against all the walls and far away from each other, right? So we're always encouraging you to set your rooms up that way. But in doing so, oftentimes there's sort of a lonely corner. We do encourage you to have some negative space. So while every corner and every wall does not have to be filled, you may find that in a larger room, like a living room or a family room, there might be this sort of lonely corner. And maybe it's a place for a large plant or something like that, but maybe it's a place to create a cozy nook. I do not want to see a floor lamp standing there by itself because it looks like you put the floor lamp in timeout. And for whatever reason, that happens a lot. Maybe it's a dark corner and people just feel like, oh, I'm going to fill this up with some
instead of
light.
A plant, just throw a floor lamp there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just a really bad look. A plant is a better idea. But how about this? Look around these spaces, look in your living room, family room, and see, is there a corner where you could put a nice sized chair, not a gigantic chair, a chair for one, and a little side table. Maybe that lonely floor lamp goes behind it. Or maybe you have room on the table for a table lamp. And maybe you get yourself a little poof or an ottoman. And literally, poof, you have a cozy spot to sit and relax. You can still be part of the action and you can still be enjoying your room by yourself. It's also a way to create spaces that feel good when you have a lot of people or when you just have one person or two people.
I think that's a great idea. Another thing to think about is what about putting a dark, rich color on the wall? I think that really can cozy up a space very quickly. It does require paint and effort or hiring someone to do it, but it is a very hot look now. It's beautiful and it really will spice up a space. There's just so many good things I can say about putting a dark color on the wall, but that is definitely something that will create a cozy room.
And especially if this cozy room or spot is north facing, to lean into the dark colors is such a great idea. I just did this at a client's house. It's in a guest room that really only her in-laws use. And it's north facing, kind of weird dormered room. So we had to go and use the paint on the ceiling as well. And I chose the Van Dusen Blue by Benjamin Moore. Mm. It is, and it's blue, but it's not in my house. But I love it. I love it. It is such a beautiful blue. So I will link that in the show notes so everybody could check that out. It is such a gorgeous color. I think you're going to love it and definitely reads cozy. Well, another way to add cozy is books. Love books, bookshelves, stacks of books. Adding books to a room says a lot about your personality. You know, the books you choose, obviously, you would assume you're going to choose books that you're of interest in, but sometimes we just pick them for the spines, and that's okay too. But books are a fantastic way to add cozy, and you can add shelving so easily. So either you can just add some floating shelves, or you can get an inexpensive bookcase, or you can go all out and have something custom made and maybe wrap that fireplace in bookcases. But adding books will really do a lot to add cozy to your spaces.
Well, it's interesting you say that because in my cozy space, in my little sitting room I was telling you about, I have a very old pine bookcase in there that has a bunch of old books in it. So I've used your tip right there.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you are. You're the inspiration for today's episode, I think. Right? Because it is just I'm sure it's such a beautiful space. I've seen pictures of it. It is gorgeous. Just, I'm sure, to sit, be quiet, enjoy the natural light, snoop on the neighbors a little bit if you want. flip through your Milieu magazine, whatever you want to be doing. It's just your space. And so maybe we're talking about sort of very personalized cozy today. Maybe don't worry about cozying it up for everybody.
Right.
Maybe this is more cozy for one, solo cozying. If you're adding these lovely tartan or plaid fabrics and warm textures and furry pillows and throws to your house, you're going to get the cozy vibe throughout. But it seems to be like today we kind of drill down on really creating these little individualized places where cozy's happening in your rooms. And I think that that is so important because probably none of us take enough time just to chill out a little bit during the day. I know I always have a goal. Especially in the weekend, I'm like, I'm going to garden a little bit. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I got to do this, and oh, I have some laundry in, and oh, we have to go somewhere later on. And I think some point during this weekend, I am just going to get my book, and I'm just going to go sit down somewhere. And it's such a treat. And it would even be better if I had this perfect little cozy spot to do it.
Absolutely. That sounds very inviting.
So what are we defining today?
Bakelite.
Ah.
Yes, it's a trade name for one of the first plastics to come into widespread use. It was a popular material used in producing early pieces of modern furniture. It's a chemically resilient and non-melting plastic. It was formed by blending phenol and formaldehyde from coal tar and methanol. I know, it doesn't sound very...
Don't lick it.
Yeah, don't lick it. But it was most popular in the 20s to 50s, and during that time, it was used to make telephones, clocks, pens, jewelry boxes, kitchenware, radios, lamps, desk sets, chessboards, billiard balls, poker chips, and jewelry. If you look on Etsy and eBay, you're going to find a lot of Bakelite jewelry. Now, the thing about it is it can only be heated once. So that was a problem that for making plastics more functional. So it was actually replaced in the 50s with thermoplastics that can be heated many times. So it's really not used much anymore. This is really more something you're going to find in a vintage item.
That is so interesting. And I really didn't know that it was used on these bigger items. I just always think about it as jewelry.
Right. I agree.
My friend's mom had a vintage clothing store and she sold tons of Bakelite, lots of bracelets and earrings. It was pretty lightweight for the earrings and stuff, big chunky necklaces. It's very cool. It's very distinct. I always think it was sort of deco-ish. So I guess from the 20s to the 40s, that would be a lot of the designs would be kind of deco.
Yes, exactly. But it's fun. It's fun jewelry, and you'll find some of these old items. And so it's just kind of fun to look for them and enjoy them. And now you know a little bit about it.
You're making me think because I have a phone that's very old. Obviously not functioning. It's just decor. I have it in my powder room. You kind of have to see it to get it, but it really works in there. It's really fun. But I bet it's Bakelite.
Oh, I'm
because
sure
it's that kind of yellowy. Yeah, and it doesn't look like your Princess dial phone would have with that sort of cheaper plastic.
Right,
it's very sturdy looking.
Right. When I picture something that's Bakelite, I picture something very chunky.
Yes, it's very chunky. Oh, fun. That's a good one, Anita.
Oh, great. Now, okay, what is your crush?
Well, before I get onto the crushes, I just wanted to mention something we are starting to do. Because, everyone, we have so many episodes. And we want you to be able to enjoy a lot of the back catalog. A lot of the things that were fantastic, but might have gotten lost in the hundreds and hundreds of additional podcasts we have been putting out and might not necessarily be something that's easy to be searching for on Apple Podcasts or your podcast player. So we've decided to feature a past episode as we go along and something you might enjoy kind of maybe to go along with the current episode. So I chose number 438, which is fall decor and entertaining. And that was a really popular episode that we did. And so we'll link it in the show notes. So have a listen and you can go right from this one to that one. Enjoy.
Right. I think that will work very nicely and dovetail with this episode.
So my crush is also very cozy today. And it's something I want you to all encourage me to finish. I have started it. I wanted to do something with my hands. We do a lot of work on the computer, and I do a lot of gardening as a hobby and passion, but I wanted to just do something kind of with my hands to create something a little bit more hot.
Are you getting a tattoo on your hands?
No, I got an embroidery kit in my hand.
Stop it. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Wow. I'm impressed.
And so it's super cozy. I haven't started it. I mean, I shouldn't say this. I have started it, but I haven't finished it. So you need to encourage me. It's really a beautiful pattern. This person on Etsy creates all of these herself, and you can choose the different background material colors and then the different patterns, but nothing seems too advanced. And you do get very nice instructions. It takes a little patience, and I am not necessarily a great sewer, but I did do embroidery on my jeans when I was little, and I loved embroidery floss, and I found in my craft stash a lot of my own embroidery floss. So I thought it'd be so fun to do this. And knitting was sort of something I thought about learning, but it's kind of hot here for knitting. And then you have to worry about its sizing, unless you're making a scarf, I guess. So I decided just to try this little embroidery kit, and it was like under $50. And the name of the company on Etsy is Hoffelt and Hooper Co. And I will put the link in the show notes. They are modern handmade kits, embroidery kits for beginners.
Oh, that sounds so fun. And I did some embroidery as a kid too, and we were doing tea towels. I remember.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I have my partially finished one. I don't think I ever finished it, but I do remember doing some of that as a kid, and I would love to get back into that and learn more about it. I'm not interested in the knitting or the crochet, but the embroidery, actually, I would love to learn more about. So,
well, I love embroidery, and I'm always drawn to embroidered pillows or crewel work. If I see a pillow like that, I mean, it's just I want to make it my own. So I thought, well, why not try it? I don't know, what I'll do with this piece of fabric. It's not very big, but you could make a tiny little pillow, or I guess you could frame it.
Frame it, yeah.
But I have to finish it first.
Kelly's unfinished work.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. What's your crush?
It is the margarita.
I love a margarita.
It's the YouTube channel, Get the Margarita. And it's about a Canadian living in Paris. She's bilingual, which makes it so much easier for her to live there. But she's living in France, and so she talks about life there, finding an apartment, going to the emergency room, issues with her apartment, her job. I mean, she really kind of talks about just what it's like living there, and it's so fun to watch and kind of get a peek into what it would be like if you lived there. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but I enjoy the video, seeing how she gets along there.
Oh, that must be kind of fun, right? So her trials and tribulations, her highs and lows of living in Paris. Is she right in Paris?
Yes, and it's not Emily in Paris, I can tell you that. It's not like that at all.
Is a little bit more real life, like
it's
trying
more,
to get the heating working or something.
Yeah.
But what's with Get the Margarita? That would make me think she was either in Key West or Mexico. What's with the margarita?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know where that came from. Maybe
it's hard to order a margarita in Paris.
Maybe she started out with it a little different. Sometimes people start one direction with their channel, and then they feel like they can't change the name later. I agree with you. I was a little thrown by that too when I first started watching her. I'm like, Get the Margarita, what? But maybe she says in the beginning what that's referring to, but that's what it is. And she's a very sweet person, so I enjoy watching it.
Oh, fun. Well, that's another thing to do in your cozy nook.
That's right.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you can find a little cozy nook, or at least carve out some time for yourself. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.